Okay, today at seminar, as nobody, hold on, as nobody volunteered today for the seminar, so I volunteer myself to explain the bioinformatics part in plant genomics lab because we are majority of work in our lab is bioinformatics using data in our server. So we are calling it or bioinformatics or genomics or omics or sometimes data science or sometimes we call it big data analysis and so on. So but here we are calling it bioinformatics and we usually use languages, the computation languages. First one is Python and second one is JavaScript. The reason why we select Python because Python is the most popular programming language because of the diversity of the modules. It supports machine learning, it supports many string analysis, and it supports artificial intelligence, and also it supports many GUI programming, such as GT and or what was that Python GT or and also it supports development of the database with um, front end. So this diversified usage of Python actually promote many developer to use Python language. And second one is you can see there Java. Java. In Java and JavaScript is a different one. In Java is multi-platform languages. So if you once you develop a certain program and it can be run in Windows, it can be run in Mac and Linux. So it is really good. But nowadays it declined because Java uh, became non-free software. I mean non-free framework nowadays. So it declining. I don't know why they announced that it become um, non-free because for development, for example, if you are new guys for the software programming language, usually if it is non-free, then you will not learn it. So maybe they think that their software market is large enough to become non-free. So they actually ask the many company to pay the license to use Java. So nowadays people are actually exiting from Java platform. Rather they try to use Python or the other stuffs here, usually Swift or TypeScript. And the third one is JavaScript. Actually, we also use JavaScript to developing the front end application. So JavaScript is really good because it works in browser. So everybody has a browser. So if you want to learn Python, you have to install Python to learn Python software. But in the case of JavaScript, it requires you have browsers such as Google Chrome or Explorer. Nowadays, Google Chrome is very popular and support every part of JavaScript language. So JavaScript, if you develop JavaScript software, then everybody can use without any installation. So this is really cool. And also, when you try to develop web application, um, nowadays there is so many coronavirus around here, and also there is so many data for with regard to the coronavirus and the patient and their deaths or survivor. So if you have already data for it, then you can use JavaScript to visualize this information. For example, a certain middle school student developed coronanow.kr, which is well developed based on the JavaScript, and he used API from data.go.kr, so which is Korean um, public public data hub. So the middle school student can use that hub to build his own JavaScript web page Corona now. So this is why we also try to use Python and JavaScript, and maybe from these two ability, we are thinking that we can develop our own application, web application or application to address certain problems or questions and very important biological questions. Okay, so next is Python for analysis. The reason why we use Python is for the analysis. So for the analysis, there is really good framework called scikit-learn. Scikit-learn actually mimicking the MATLAB I heard. So this is all free. So this API is all free for you, and you can run classification and regression clustering. This is famous 3 different class of machine learning. So once you have data, then you can run classification, regression, and cluster for free, and it supports many visualization. So the only thing you want to learn is scikit-learn, I think, for the Python. And the other thing is scikit-image. Scikit-learn actually rely on the data, which is bio. But if you have many images, such as X-ray data or just plant images, then you can use scikit-image. It can process the image to be compared to each other. Then you can I would say cluster the image, or you can change the image. You can extract the edges, or you can extract the certain faces, and whatever you want. The majority of the functionality is where displayed in this gallery tab. So if you click on this gallery tab, then there are so many way to use scikit-image. And next thing is most important, as one of the most important things in Keras. Keras is deep learning library. This deep learning library really rely on TensorFlow. So nowadays, so Google TensorFlow announced the 2.0 version. With the 2.0 version, actually engulfed this Keras platform. Keras platform is really easy. The guys, actually the students who already know about deep learning, he already understand there's many layers. You can configure, but this Keras actually help you to design the layers. So if you are interested in machine learning and artificial intelligence, I really recommend to use Keras because this is really intuitive system to build artificial intelligence architecture. And the second purpose for the Python is build a database. Python have really good web framework for perfectionists with a deadline. Actually, I don't know what that means, but it's really like the company guys who has a deadline. But if you want to perfection, then you have to use Django, right? So this Django gives you the way to use many databases. There's already databases in your computer, for example, MySQL or SQLite or actually hold on post SQL. What is it? PostgreSQL. Okay, so PostgreSQL. So there's so many types of databases already. You can download your computer. There is many databases, types of databases, and you can download in your computer, and you have to learn the databases. But if you understand the Django, then you don't need to study each types of database, because Django support the usage of each database. So if you understand Django, then you can use many databases with Django language, and also it support you how to build your own URL and how to build your own view and how to build your own template for your web page. So this is really good for you to um, how to say intact web-based database um, based on your own data. So nowadays there are so many data from your research, uh, such as NGS and RNA-seq or genome-wide sequencing. So sometimes you want to share the data to others, then you can use Django to host it. And API. So I already mentioned the API. API means that application programming interface. So which means um, if you once developed API, then the other developer, the other programmer can use this API for their own purpose. So your own data can be parsed into API, and you can host it from your server. Then you provide the link with certain grammars. Then the programmers can use it. So nowadays, many papers, database papers, is published with regard to this API. So I build API for sharing expression data for the cancer or for the plant or some disease resistance, right? Then you can publish API. So this is really good because you don't need to care about any front end. Front end means some design or interface. So you don't need to care about this interface. So you can build this API using Django again. So yeah, Django has REST frameworks. So these REST frameworks help you to build web browserable API. Okay, and also it supports certain authentication for login or providing the authentication key, right? And also the other framework is Flask and Python. So you can use Flask to make API, especially for the hosting certain function. So you have a certain function, for example, you can host certain function to help design guide RNA for the genome editing. So you have a special idea to design the guide RNA, then you build your own function and then host with the Flask. Okay, and the reason why we use JavaScript for front end. So let me explain the front end. Front end is for what we see by our own eyes. So it's majority of them is HTML and CSS, and JavaScript actually manipulating these two stuffs, the main stuffs, HTML and CSS. Okay, so we use JavaScript for this front end. And actually, the React is our one of our main topic for learning JavaScript. So React is really good because the long time ago JavaScript is kind of sub grammars, but nowadays based on this React, JavaScript became main language, actually render HTML and CSS. So because of this React framework, so it engulfed the D3. D3 is visualizing how to say library. So for example, it gives you this type of plot, and it gives you another plot such as networking. So this is really cool actually. So the D3 is main visualizing tool for us. And next one is Google Chart. So React has Google Chart. Google Chart has a lot of chart, area, bar, bubble, calendar, candlestick, whatever it is. And also this type of GEO plot also can be possible with the Google Chart. So React can use Google Chart also with very easy grammar. And what we can learn from our lab is data. So there is so many data in the web, but how to use is the problem. And we we can learn how to use SRA. SRA means sequence read archive. So this sequence read archive have a lot of NGS sequences. So they are saying that including Roshi, this is outdated, but Illumina GA, this is also outdated. Solid, Heliscope, Complete Genomics, and Pacific Bio. So they have old one and new one, right? So which means they have everything. So the way we are learning from our lab. So from this SRI database, we can reuse many submitted sequences. And also we will use the public data of Korea. So they provide many API and they provide many CSV metrics. So we can download this data and we can extract a certain meaning. So this meaning can be really important when it comes to coronavirus nowadays. So if you extract certain meaning from coronavirus data, then it will really have impact. And also there is another international database, UK Biobank. The UK Biobank is possessing 500,000 volunteer participants and provide their health information, and nowadays it has many health information as well as NGS data. So they provide to us the genotype of each participant, so we can analyze the association between genotype and that health information. But the association, merely the association, do not tell us it really cause that health problem. So we have to be careful with regard to certain statistics. Okay, and this is a GISAID database. This database is for sharing the influenza virus data. Nowadays, it is really famous because it contains our not is it is not our, is the coronavirus data sequences, because the samples from everywhere can be sequenced with PacBio or Nanopore. Then the sequence can be uploaded to this GISAID database. Then we can download and compare everything, and we will look at what kind of sequence block have a certain evolutionary model. So it is well known, it evolved really fast, so we can check which part of genome is really evolved fast, or it is really fit with certain evolutionary model, and we can infer certain knowledge. So this is important. So this is everything of PGL. Thank you for your listening. And so this is how you explain your skill of your laboratory. For example, I explain our main topics to you, but our student should explain what actually he or she learning nowadays, and what is the meaning for him or she, and what is the status of their study. So for the other laboratory, what is the experimental skill you are learning? Why it is so important? And once you learn the skill, then what kind of work you can do, or what kind of additional skill is necessary. So anything is okay, and please submit your abstract until Thursday. And okay, so next week you guys will submit the video to me, so I will waiting for you. Okay, thank you very much. Bye bye.